All right, hello. We are at the LVO. This is Mitchell. We are in round 2. I lost my first game. You won your first game, so we're right in the middle of the pack right now. What's the name of this mission that we're playing?
Yeah, they're insane. Traffic James.
Traffic James.
Yep.
Okay. It's corner deployment, so you're coming on from the corners here. There's a large solid object in the middle. There's 4 space stations. They're all large. They count as clusters for scoring and also critical locations. And the one added wrinkle is that if you blow up your opponent's central space station only on their side of the board, you get an extra 4 points. This is my PHR fleet. I've got 2 Bellerophons in a battle group. I've got an Odysseus, an Orpheus, and 2 Medeas in the battle group. Sorry, this is a little messy, but we're on a tight schedule. Another battle group, 6 Echoes and an Orpheus. Another battle group, 8 Echoes. Another battle group, 9 Echoes. So I'm playing Echo Spam.
That one is 2 New Orleans and a San Francisco. That's just a Madrid by itself. Then we have 3 Taipeis with the Jakarta.
1 on each.
Then we have 2 Rios with 2 Santiagos. Then we have a Moscow and a substitute Moscow and 2 Limas. And then the Washington.
Start of turn 1. No one played any card. All right, I activated my Echoes first. They came on. We're playing, distant deployment. So the battle groups with low strategy ratings come on in the early turns, and then the big strategy rating battle groups come on.
I moved on. I'm planning on dropping into the station next.
All right, I activated another battle group of Echoes, and they moved on over here, dropped to low.
I came on full thrust to get over the big space station to bombard.
All right, activated the battle group with the Orpheus, the Odysseus, and the Medeas. The Orpheus went through here. The Odysseus really wanted to drop on turn 1 into the space station, so I smashed through the debris field and took 1 damage, so it's down to 5 hull points. Medeas are creeping over on the edge of the board here, and they went down to lower. All right, and he moved his Taipei frigates for close action up here. Okay, for ground assets and launch assets at the end of turn 1, the only thing to report is that my Odysseus blockade runner put 3 dudes in the space. Turn 2 cleanup phase. Nobody played any card.
Fired at the space station and did not do anything because it was not quite close.
Yeah, so 2 of the ships were in range. Only one of them was a Taipei. This is actually a Jakarta. So the squadron rule didn't take effect, so he didn't get that many shots, and point defense just saved everything because it's a large space station with 12-point defense. He shot all of his turrets at my Odysseus over here and did 1 more damage. I activated my Echo group, and they all just moved up here, hid behind the debris field. Normally, my instinct is to put them in atmosphere, but I think they're safe for the moment, so they're just hanging out in low orbit. I activated my Orpheus with the 6 Echoes. They moved here and hid behind the debris field.
I removed the Madrid up with a standard action to avoid being scanned and was out of range of everything. So that's
all right, activated my Echoes. They moved up here and blew up 2 Taipeis. And he took 1 damage in an explosion, the Jakarta.
I moved in so that I could move into the space station. I took a standard action to bring him onto the board and start threatening the others.
Those are Rios and Santiagos. All right, activated my drop battle group. So Orpheus moved over here and dumped a spike with a standard action. Took standard action with the, there's the Odysseus. This is the Orpheus. It took the debris field because that was the only way that I could kill his Jakarta and keep it in the narrow arc of the burn through. Rolled 1 damage on the burn through, which was enough to do a 2nd damage point to the Jakarta, which made it cripple, which made it blow up, which damaged the Taipei in an explosion, which made it cripple, which made it die. So actually, the burn through caused a chain reaction, which killed both of those frigates. Medeas moved up. Only one of them will be in drop range this turn. The other one's just a little bit too far. Here's our launch asset phase. Still pretty simple. I put 2 more bulk landers there, so we've got 6 infantry now. You put, I can't quite see it on the camera, but that's all infantry, so total of 8 infantry there, and I put 1 tank onto that station from the start of turn 3. Nobody played any cards in the cleanup phase, mainly because we don't have any commanders, so we don't have any cards.
I turned these guys so that I can still drop and start heading away from this area.
All right, I activated my Echoes. They moved from over here. In order to make it around the debris field and get in range, they had to take a course change because it was just a little bit too much turning, so everything has minor spikes. They blew up the 2 New Orleans, and one of the New Orleans explosions killed the one in front, so I lost 1 Corvette. He lost 2 New Orleans, and the space station took 1 damage in an explosion. All right, I decided to just really test out what it's like to take an entire swarm of Echoes and go straight up against a cruiser and try to kill it. So all 9 of the Echoes got full firing with their close action and their turrets, and they did 5 damage to the Madrid and crippled it and took its scanners.
moved my slow behemoths onto the field and scanned 2 of his corvettes.
With your Limas, which are hanging out over the corner. I activated my Orpheus and my last group of Echoes. The Orpheus crashed through this debris field and didn't take any damage. The Echoes kind of curved around here, and they're sheltering behind the moon. And
right, I shot in, killed 1.5 corvettes, and these guys came in and cleaned up another 1.5. So
nice.
The Madrid dropped down into the Echoes and tried to burn down, and ended up killing 2 by itself.
Had to get super close because the scanners were offline. Activated my Bellerophons. They're right there. Debris field's really inconvenient for the bombers, so I'm hoping I can hit something. We'll see. All right, activated my drop group. The Orpheus went over here, just got rid of its spikes, ready to drop this turn. Sorry, Odysseus. The Orpheus went weapons free. It fired its laser, got 3 crits. All right, the loud announcer's gone. So the Orpheus fired the burn through, weapons free, did 3 crits on the Madrid, and also fired the close action, did another damage to the Madrid, and fired the light caliber broadside and killed the Santiago. And then the Medeas just repositioned, they'll drop during the drop phase. So unfortunately the table we're playing on has this little ridge here, so imagine that the Dreadnought is right there. I played Drive Hack on it, so it only had a thrust of 3, but you can just still describe what it did.
It came on, guns barreling, and killed the light cruiser Orpheus, I think it was called.
The Bulklander.
Yeah, soft
Assault
retribution for the Madrid.
Yep. So what'd you roll? 32 dice worth of turrets in a weapons-free action, and you just barely killed it. All right, ground assets. The only thing we have to do is fire the guns on our space station. So we fired the missiles, close action, killed the front Corvette, who I accidentally left in missile range. The mass driver shot the guy in the back here, did 1 damage. And I could have shot his Madrid with 1 health, but thought better of it, because they're all in the same orbital layer right now, and if he blows up badly, all my Corvettes die. So not going to take that risk. So mass driver's holding fire. All right, here's the launch phase. Fair amount of stuff. So the Bellerophons launched all their bombers at the Madrid, which will trigger next turn because it's a double move. Hopefully I'll have time to clear out and not get exploded on by then. 2 of them died in the debris field on the way in. The Washington, which, sorry, we'll put it on the board next turn, launched 12 bombers, so we got 8 there and 4 there on various Corvettes, and 3 fighters over there on the San Francisco. And then for ground assets, we put in 2 more tanks there, and a bunch more infantry there. Tanks?
2 tanks.
Oh, you can't do tanks out of a Bulklander. So more infantry there. We'll go up to 4, and I put more infantry there, and I put my first drop of infantry there into this space station. Turn 4, we actually have hands of cards and other commanders are on the table. So I played an ECM field generator on this space station, which ignores spikes within 6 inches, and he espionaged it.
I moved to Santiago in hopes that it would be, or not Santiago, San Francisco, to go after the Corvettes and get away from this murder barrage over here, and was short. I had a feeling that I did nothing.
Couldn't quite shoot. I activated my group of Echoes. They all went down into atmosphere because they had bombers on them and they needed to lose them, and they shot 6 gunshots up at San Francisco and did 1 damage.
So the Madrid, in its final act, moved in here, killed another Corvette, and then exploded, killing 2 more.
The bombers activated at the end of his turn, causing it to explode, which killed 2 more Corvettes. Unfortunately, I couldn't get out of its way. I activated my Echoes. They're here, and I decided to put them all in atmosphere and kind of lurk, because if they stayed and fought, they'd probably just get completely outgunned by those Moscows over there. They have too many different turrets. They just killed them all. So they're going to lurk, and hopefully they'll be useful later in the... All right, my Orpheus, probably not that well situated to take 2 Rios on head-to-head, so it turned left, is trying to hide behind the moon a little, maybe. We'll see if that works. Lost its spike. The Echoes went down to atmosphere, tried to take a whole bunch of shots at 6-ups to kill the last Santiago, but it missed.
So I active scanned with the Limas on this one and made him a bright target for everybody, where my Rios then laid into him, but we're only able to do 7 damage.
6 damage.
6 damage.
Yes. All right, activated my Orpheus is dead. The Odysseus was over here. He shook 5 fighters with a course change, took 4 damage, got down to 1 hull point, and then crippled and got a hull breach and blew up. Did not kill anything with its explosion. And then the Medeas went and hid behind the debris field, and then on turn 5 they can potentially drop some guys in that space station over there.
So I went weapons free again, shot this guy, tailed down to 2 wounds with my main cannons.
Crippled and the Wi-Fi went off.
Yep.
Scanners down.
And then I shot into these guys. I hit this one, but didn't do a damage. And then shot the other one ineffectively. So that was it for the Washington. So I just unloaded everything into them. I killed one of them and just injured 3 others.
With the Moscows.
With the Moscows, everything in.
Activated my Bellerophons. They just rotated a bit, took standard actions. They were out of range to burn through on anything, so they're just gonna get barely in bomber range and do some bombers at the end of it. All right, ground combat. We fired our guns. I fired at the Dreadnought, which had massive spikes on it, and did how much? Two damage. 2 damage with spikes. He tried to shoot my Echoes and Atmosphere with your mass driver and did. All right, launch phase. I put 8 bombers on the Rio, and he put 15 fighters on the Rio. So that'll be pretty epic next turn. And I put 2 more bulk landers of infantry on the space station. And all right, roundup phase and scoring. I fixed my Wi-Fi on the ship there. And scoring-wise, I've got 4 for running that space station, 4 more for running that space station, plus 2 for the critical location. 4 more for running that space station, not a critical location because I'm dumb and I put my guys too far away. And then Mitchell gets 4 for that space station. So the score at turn 4 is 14-4. Start of turn 5, nobody played any cards.
So I open fired, or weapons freed, shot over here, killed the last part of him.
Okay.
I shot down here ineffectively, and then there was a mass battle here between bombers,
8 bombers and 15 fighters.
That resulted in 3 damage at the end of it.
3 damage, yeah. A lot of dice rolling and 3 damage. All right, activated my Bellerophons. They moved up 6 inches, so they're just barely within bomber range. And they went for the Dreadnought, the Washington over here, and they did 7 damage to it with pretty good burn-through rolling. So 4 more damage, and he'll be crippled. I activated these 2 Echoes, and they blew up his Santiago in it.
Just doing Corvette cleanup, just weapons free, firing down. We killed 3 Corvettes?
2 or 3, I can't remember.
2 or 3.
Yeah. And then the Limas had to take standards, so they lost spike.
I just booked it from here to here to try and contest that point next.
I activated this group of Echoes. They moved forward 2 inches because I was still a little afraid to put them into low orbit. They took pot shots at the Limas and missed. Activated my Echoes. They all came up out of low orbit, turned course change, got minor spikes, and just completely unloaded on the San Francisco. Rolled really well and took it out. So San Francisco's
fired all of my guns into his Admiral.
another weapons free action.
Of course. And there's not any others for Dreadnought. And left it with 1 wound.
Did 12 damage, rolled to the cripple table, turned off the scanners again, down to 1. I activated my Bideas. What was your card you played?
Jam Comms.
Jam Comms. So I had to take a standard action. That was all right. I was actually planning on doing that anyway. I went through the debris field, took no damage at all on either one. And they're ready. All right, so for the space stations, this is the ground combat phase. I fired the mass driver on the space station at the Dreadnought. He made all his armor saves. He fired all the guns, the close action and the guns on the space station at one of my Medeas. Made it cripple. The cripple roll blew it up. I rolled a 6, radiation burst, did 2 more damage to the other Medea. So it's... How did they get the last damage? Was it the close action? Yeah, you shot the close action at it, and then it did 1 more damage, so I'm down to 2. And unfortunately, he pointed out to me that we have to measure this from the center of the space station, and because I was so conservative on my turn 4 move, and I stood behind the debris field there, actually, even with a full move, I can't get close enough to drop, this turn at least. So I won't be doing that this turn. Launch phase, basically all that happened, because I couldn't drop any ground assets here, is I put 8 bombers onto the Dreadnought. The Dreadnought put 12 bombers onto the healthy Bellerophon, and 3 fighters onto itself. During the damage control phase, I played Expert Repair Crew, so I automatically repair the Wi-Fi and get 2 whole points back on the blade. Start of turn 6, nobody played any card.
I went weapons free, killed his Admiral, and then did a few points of damage to his friend.
4 more damage on the other one. The explosion wasn't too crazy, just a shredded. All right, I activated my Bellerophon, singular. He went up, he fired the burn through and got a pretty crappy shot, only did 2 regular damage. He saved them both easily. Then at the end of his activation, he moved up so that if he blew up, he'd kill the Rios. He didn't blow up, despite the fact that he had 12 bombers on him. He took it like a champ. He's down to 2 health with energy surges and orbital decay. Activated this group of Echoes. They actually did a couple crits with their guns to like 3 damage, I think. And then they shuttled a close action, burned off the fighters, so used up all his fighters, but he saved everything. No, it's your Dreadnought.
Okay, so I came in, I finished off the last guy, I did a little chaff cleanup here.
Kill some.
And then the bombers activated and wrecked me, and I'm down to like 4 hit points left. On the catastrophic table,
I played skillful shot to maximize my chances.
And then he did a primary core leak. So before the end of the game, I'm also going to suffer 3 more points of damage.
Oh, no, you won't actually, because the cleanup phase is at the start of the turn.
Oh,
and you take the damage at the cleanup phase.
Oh.
So actually, you'll never take that damage, but you still have orbital decay, which you have to deal with at the end of the turn. So on a 4-up, you'll die from that. Yeah. Anyway, I activated this one fully painted Echo here. He came out of orbit, shot the Dreadnought because I'm really trying to take him out, and did not do.
I unleashed the Moscows again because I don't know how to do anything but weapons free. They killed his transport here, and I killed 2 more Corvettes.
All right, I just sped through my last couple activations. It was just one single Echo, and I didn't bother. So here's the ground asset. We're firing the guns on the space stations. I did 1 more damage to his Dreadnought. It's down to 3 damage points. He missed my Corvette. All right, in the launch phase, the Dreadnought, since all my Corvettes were trying to kill the Dreadnought and were in low orbit, he just launched all his bombers and killed all of them. So the only guy I have left on the board is that Corvette right there in atmosphere. And in the damage control phase, he fails his orbital decay roll and the Dreadnought crashes into the planet, and I get the kill. All right, scoring in the roundup phase, turn 6. I get 4 points for that station, and 4 for that station, and 4 for that station. He gets 4 points for that station, and for critical locations, he controls that one and this one. So I get 12 more points, he gets 8 more points. Final score is 27 points to 12 in favor of the PHR. All right, let's debrief this. So we also measured up the kill points because that matters for the tournament. I have 1 ship left, which means that you got 1,470 kill points. I got 863 kill points. So in our scoring system, that put me, he got 5 bonus points, I got 3 bonus points. In terms of the lists, this is my second game with this list in the tournament. Echo spam, so the problem I'm encountering here is that the Echoes will just completely clean out the atmosphere, but they're not super efficient outside the atmosphere. So the problem was I had so many Echoes that I'd just kill everything in the atmosphere, but then I couldn't really do anything with that advantage. I couldn't get that many landers in, especially on the opposite side of the board, to go contest the clusters on the opposite side of the board. So this is just too many Echoes. 23 Echoes is too many. I think something like 15 might be better, and I would replace that points. First off, I think I should take out the Odysseus and replace it with more Medeas, because I think they just kind of do the same thing and are safer because they can go down into atmosphere. And then I just probably take some more ships that can actually kill things, so I just keep getting annihilated every mission in all the space combat. I don't know if that's like another Bellerophon or some more of those broadsides, now that they boosted some of the other cruisers. Yeah, that was my analysis. And then the way the game went down, I just tried to get into the space stations really quickly and attack all of his drop. That seemed to work relatively well. I was able to take out his drop, and then he absolutely murdered me. But I was able to win on points.
I need to be more careful with my drops if I'm going to play with so few. I was really reckless with my tie pace, and they didn't end up doing anything. I don't think they would have really done anything anyways, just based on how the list was composed.
Well, you still had plenty of kill power left, even after they died.
They're not a huge point cost, but they're a huge threat to like medium-sized heavy cruisers. They can just rip through those things.
Yeah.
On the bigger ships, they're just, the Dreadnoughts, they don't do much, but I think I definitely need a little bit more drop. Maybe dropping down the heavy cruisers, like maybe 1 Moscow down to just like some of the light cruisers to make up some of the room, because I was playing like 23 points down.
Okay, so you have a little bit of room to work with.
I had a little bit of wiggle with the point reduction from Moscow. But if I'd done that, I would have been able to find probably enough points to put in like 2 light cruisers or something. I don't know.
Oh yeah, and for reference, we were playing with the Cleveland Clash errata and rule changes. So any of changes you saw in that list, they were in this tournament as well. Yeah.
So yeah, I'd rather need to bring more or protect them.
And then, if you could have replayed the mission over again, anything you would have done differently?
Probably would have full thrusted first turn, so that I could drop second turn while getting away from your stuff and back into my own line, so that I could have a potential to spread out and take stuff.
And would you have tried to blow up a space station or try to drop into a second space station?
Drop into your space station over here, I think, would have been
Okay.
a better call. Because then I had the power, the force, to hold this with just the 2 Moscows pretty much. That's all it took.
Yeah,
over here.
yeah.
And then I was winning this war over here. So if I'd been able to just turn over here, redirect some firepower over here, I could have won this area.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I think I was too conservative with them in that regard and didn't get them fast enough back because I spent a turn kind of dropping more off when I probably had enough to protect it. I mean, I had 4 times 3, 12. I had 16 guys in there.
Yeah.
Chilling. Come over here. So there's no need for it.
Anyway, I had a great time, so thanks for the game.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you. And stay tuned for a preview of a Kickstarter. All right, could you introduce yourself and tell us about your game?
Okay, sure thing. I'm Tony, and this is Zone Raiders, which is my game just launched on Kickstarter early February. At the time of this recording, we've got a couple of days left still for the campaign, and the main focus of it is to produce a rule set that allows you to use any miniature you own in a sci-fi skirmish setting. So you're able to build teams of 5 to 10 models that can engage in skirmish warfare with each other, other players, and also a co-op mode against AI opponents. So that's a feature which is kind of fairly uncommon with this kind of game, and something we really want to encourage. Each team can be built according to like 7 faction archetypes and uses different kinds of models. They'll develop and grow over the course of the campaign. They'll unlock new equipment or rare, powerful gear might be found on the field itself, and kind of generally tell a story. The gameplay tactically is based on what is cinematically cool. So like your models, even in dense terrain, might have the ability to like wall run up slopes if they're with armor capable of that, launch grappling hooks, and just move super dynamically. The gameplay is also designed to be as straightforward and as easy to learn as possible. It's a D20 system, and most of the emphasis is on the smart positioning of your guys is what's giving you the edge in battle. So that if you've got opponents flanked in a crossfire, you've got kind of targets marked, you've got advantage to hit them. You can do things like throw people off edges, trigger traps, or environmental hazards to get the advantage, and all these other aspects to make this both an accessible and very tactical skirmish game, which is based on kind of what you want out of it by creating your own custom team of guys.
So I see you've already got the rule book made. Like it's fully, completely edited and built. So what's in the Kickstarter? What are you trying to do?
So these are prototypes for the book from an early print draft. We're looking in the Kickstarter really to actually get the full printing out and to get copies in the hands of our backers, as well as to provide UV printed acrylic tokens to kind of track game states and stuff, and to help support gameplay. There's also standees to do some really cool additional mechanics we have. Like, for example, we have this really unique mechanic, as far as I can see, where it's kind of like cyber hacking, where a person with special gear can interface or jack into a terminal, and you place an acrylic standee as to where their digital presence is on the battlefield. So they might be able to hijack like a turret or operate machinery, close doors, somewhere else in the battlefield while being physically at a terminal, which perhaps as an opponent you might take the opportunity to try to take care of that problem by just shooting them or throwing them off a cliff.
Now let's say I kind of want this to be like a regular miniatures game where I buy the specific miniatures for the game. I want them to look like the factions in the book. How would I do that?
Well, the factions in the book are kind of guidelines of just general concepts. So lots of different mini ranges will fit. But we partnered up with a bunch of like really kind providers and friends and elsewhere in the industry who are kind of indie game shops, most of which don't have their own game, but they make beautiful miniatures. And so they're all covered in the back of the book as our partners and our friends who kind of helped make this possible by making these example minis, which I think they're really gorgeous models that need a good home in games.
Awesome. Great. And if I want to become a part of this, where should I go?
All right, go hit up Kickstarter and Google Zone Raiders Kickstarter. Zone Raiders. And that's where you'll see us. We'll be up until, I believe, if I recall correctly, the 19th of January. Or,
February, probably, yeah. 19th of February.
These days are running fast.
Yes.
And so, yeah, it's really exciting.
Awesome. Thanks a lot.
All right.